Hello, and welcome back to Heart Starts Pounding, a podcast of horrors, hauntings, and mysteries. As always, I'm your host, Kaelyn Moore. And normally on this show, we cover all sorts of terrifying stories. But today, I'm turning the camera back on you guys. And I want to cover really scary stories that were sent in by listeners. These are all true, terrifying tales. And I felt like there was no one better to join me than Miss Morgan Absher.
Hello, guys.
We just got done recording an episode for your show where you read to me some scary stories.
Terrifying.
And now we're doubling up with this one. I just don't think I'm going to be able to sleep tonight.
There's no chance. There's absolutely no chance.
I mean, you showed me some photos that are truly haunting.
I'm going to have to sleep with the lights on.
That episode is available on the Two Hot Takes feed right now as part of our spooky season programming. Yeah, it seems like your listeners really love the scary stuff.
They do. I'm so surprised because usually I'm like relationships and a lot of other drama, but like spooky season, we pop off. They love the spooky.
People love a good, true, scary story. And I'm one of those people. I totally understand it. There's something about it that really like scratches at my brain.
Yeah.
Especially when you hear, I mean, the stories that we were talking to on yours, it's like people like something weird was happening in my house. And then I realized there was a whole graveyard in my backyard that I didn't even know about.
I know. And I'm one of those people, I am a believer in this stuff. So like hearing real stories from like listeners, then you're like, oh no, this is definitely real.
And you're kind of having your own experience in your own home.
Yeah.
With some sort of spirit.
I know. It's just like, I had like a famous Hollywood actress die in my house. It was her house. And then like as I've been traveling, our cameras in our house have been like spotting someone and it'll track from the kitchen and like follow this like invisible thing down the hallway and then stop. So it's not like a fleck of dust and there's no dust. There's no like anything you can see, but it spots someone is what it says every time. And it's a Eufy system. Like it does not falsely trigger like this. So it's like, what are you seeing? That's not.
Did that just kind of start
recently?
One day? Oh yeah. Woof.
Somewhat recently. A lot of stuff started happening around the anniversary of her death actually. Because I was talking and I was like, I keep like having weird stuff happen like in the house. And it's like, it's all kind of popped up around the anniversary of her death.
Interesting.
I know.
Maybe she's coming back.
I think like she's trying to do something. She doesn't like when we're gone for sure. And this is all kind of, I believe it's the 20th anniversary of her death.
Oh, really? I guess I didn't realize because she's like an old Hollywood actress and director. So it's interesting. But I guess, maybe she died just 20 years ago.
Yeah, she died in 1995.
Girl, that was 30 years ago. We're old.
Okay, if you listen to Two Hot Takes, you know I'm really bad at math. Wait, oh my God, I was born in 94. What the hell, Morgan?
You're like, well, I'm 21. So that means she died 20 years ago.
I'm a 2005 baby now.
Wow. Okay, so 30 years.
Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, we talked about it briefly in the episode that we just recorded for you, but do you think she maybe has unfinished business that she's trying to get across?
I mean, she got really sick, so I could see her feeling a little unresolved. But also at the same time, like, she was how old when she passed? I guess she was only 77.
Yeah, so maybe there is something.
There could have been something.
Crazy. Well, we're going to dive into our stories that we have today because these, similar to you, Morgan, are also people that had very spooky stuff happen to them. And a lot of them can't make sense of what is happening. So I want to start by reading a story that came from a listener named Amber. And it's just titled, What Whistled at Me in the Arizona Desert?
Already know.
For the past 9 days, I've been house sitting for my dad and stepmom in semi-rural southern Arizona. I say semi-rural because we're about 40 minutes from the city near Saguaro National Park. Not too far, but not too close either. I grew up in the area and only moved away a few years ago, where I now live with my husband in another state. My family is still here in Arizona, and I miss them deeply. So when my dad asked if I would watch their place while they took a month-long trip to Alaska, I jumped at the chance, as it meant that I could see my mom and my brother too. I agreed to cover the first 2 weeks, and then my brother would take over. Their place sits on a few acres just outside of town, the kind of property where the desert feels close. During the day, it's all sun and quiet heat, but at night, the darkness presses in from every side. They've got these 2 dogs, one who's basically a guard dog, plus 2 horses and a dozen chickens. The house is big, it's a little bit maze-like, and it's a patchwork of old rooms and new additions. There are more exterior doors than you would expect, hallways that dead end into small rooms, and spaces so deep and shadowy that the only light is from a single lamp or a small window. I've stayed here before, but never alone. The first few nights, I barely slept. Lucky, the guard dog, would erupt without warning.
No.
The sound tore me from my sleep, heart pounding, panic flooding my body before my brain could rationalize why. Then he would bolt through the dog door at the back of the house and be swallowed by the darkness outside. I would hear him tearing across the yard, his bark echoing off the barn and the garden walls. Before my dad left, he warned me that Lucky is sensitive to desert critters. Think javelina, coyotes, the occasional bobcat. So I told myself that it was nothing. And to be honest, night creatures are none of my business, especially since Lucky seemed to have it handled. But after a few nights of being startled awake, I started shutting the dog door and leaving the living room TV on low to give him something else to focus on. And for a while, it worked. But then came Friday night. I was in the back bedroom getting ready to go to sleep when both dogs suddenly snapped to attention. They shot to their feet, nails skittering across the tile, and bolted towards the back of the house. A second later, I heard it too. A person whistled. Short, sharp, deliberate. The kind of whistle you would use to get someone's attention. 2 or 3 rising notes, almost as if to say, "Hey, over here." It seemed to come from outside, right by the back patio where the dog door is. The dogs went wild, barking and racing into the night. I froze for a beat, and then slowly slunk out of the bed to grab my flashlight and scan the yard from the windows. The garden, the barn, the open stretch beyond the arena. Nothing to be seen. I called the dogs in, I shut the door, and told myself it was probably someone walking down the dirt road, or maybe in the wash behind the house. The next night, deciding to be extra careful, I walked the property, checked every lock and window, I shut the door, and made sure the place was secure. That gave me enough peace to finally relax a little. I was a few minutes into taking a shower and had a podcast playing quietly from my phone. And that's when Lucky went off again, loud, urgent barks from the attached bedroom. I called for him, trying to calm him down, but then I heard it. A man's voice. And not only that, it was a man's voice coming from somewhere inside the house.
Nope.
I couldn't make out words, just the sound of someone calling out across rooms, muffled by the walls and the noise of the shower. But it was deep, human, and clear enough that my body reacted before my brain could. Like some primal part of me just knew. Fear settled on top of me like a heavy blanket, and my brain landed on one crystal clear thought. There's a man inside the house. Lucky kept barking as I quietly stepped out of the shower, leaving it running as I didn't want this person to know that I had heard them. I wrapped myself in a towel and grabbed my flashlight and phone. Only a few lights were on, so most of the house was dark. I crept towards where Lucky was, looking around as I went. Nothing in the kitchen, nothing in the living room, everything exactly as I left it. Lucky, though, was planted at the back patio door, staring at the dog door like he was waiting for something to come through it. Or maybe to be let out. Phone in hand, I was seconds from calling 911, or honestly my mom, but there was nothing obvious. There were no open doors or windows, nothing out of place, no sign anyone had been there at all, except for a freaked out dog and the sinking certainty that despite the evidence, I hadn't been alone. Yet in the back of my mind, I had a ridiculous thought. If the police come, I'll have to walk across the property in the dark to unlock the front gate in a towel with one shaved leg and a pink polka dot shower cap on my head. Making noise, turning on lights, any of that suddenly felt wrong. It felt like it could draw something towards me. So I just stood there frozen. My ears were straining for any signs in the now silent night. I couldn't bring myself to check the far hallways or the closed off bedrooms or the narrow stairs to the small second floor. Instead, I simply locked the bedroom door, pulled the dogs inside, and stayed put until morning. The next night, I gave up and stayed at my mom's. When I started telling my brother what happened, he cut me off before I even got to the details. He said that months ago, when he was alone in the house, he had heard a strange whistle inside too. The same kind of whistle that I had heard. He told me the place had always felt spooky to him too. Later, I spoke with my dad and stepmom, and they checked the cameras around the property. Nothing showed up either night. That's when my stepmom admitted that she's heard a person whistling there before too, but had always brushed it off as an echo or maybe a distant neighbor. There was someone or something in the house with me that night. I know it as confidently as I know my own name. And even now, sitting in the airport waiting to catch my flight home, I still can't seem to shake it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I don't know if that's a person or a ghost. It feels like too clear to be a ghost.
Well, it kind of reminded me of someone like the Golden State Killer or someone who scopes out the house, knows that there's a victim inside that they want to attack, but they're afraid of dogs. So maybe they were trying to lure the dog out so that they wouldn't be there. That to me is a really scary thought. But also on top of it, it does take place in Arizona. And that's where all of the scariest stuff in the desert is.
There's a lot of desert legends.
There's a lot of desert legends there.
I mean, I could see it. And also still trying to lure someone out, like kind of like a, hey, I'm out here. Like that's how she kind of described that whistle.
Yeah.
Oh, I would not be able to stay there. It's so interesting how we'll all like pass off like this, oh, I'm just hearing things or, you know, it's just the wind or an echo. But the stepmom heard it. The brother heard it. They heard it.
And they're not telling each other too.
No.
That is such a common thing in so many stories, both paranormal and true crime. Someone hears something, they kind of talk themselves out of it. They're like, maybe I'm imagining things. And then finally you confess it to someone and it's like, no, the whole family has been experiencing this. They've all just been trying to tell themselves it wasn't really happening.
Yeah, no, that's real. And it's so crazy how we will do this to ourselves too when we have these experiences. It's like, I'm not going to call 911. I'm just going to shut the door and lock the room and try to go to bed. Because like that's what I did. And like clear as day, heard voices and
it's the voices
saw the light
in
flickering
the
under the door. Like, and it's mine were in the house too. And I'm like, it's fine. Like just go to bed. And it's like,
fine, I'm fine.
That's people do get into other people's houses though. Like,
oh yeah, of course. I know. Do you follow Che Jim?
Yes. Yeah.
I love following him.
He is amazing. I've had him, I did like a weird show for Spotify a long time ago. It was like down the rabbit hole and we'd evaluate like all like these mysteries and stuff like that and kind of talk to him about some things. And like, you like cannot say like their actual name. You have to like use other ways to describe it. But like flush pedestrians are like such a big thing.
Well, I was going to say, because they
whistle, don't they?
DNA and lives in Arizona.
Yeah.
And is always talking about the stuff they hear on the reservation over there. And a lot of it's the whistling. It's whistling. It's making sounds that sound human, that maybe sound like someone you know. And it tempts you to go outside and check it out. It's a lot of animals showing up at your door, looking like a deer, but not quite like a deer. Like something's wrong with it.
What?
And it's trying to get you to come outside and you just have to close the doors and the windows and be like, none of my business. I'm staying in tonight.
How do you know though? Like, how do you know? It just like it's slightly off. I mean, the whistle, I wouldn't go near the whistle, but like if it looks like a deer,
I know.
you're just like, it's a deer.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It like moves weird. The idea is like there might be like a human like quality to it almost, the way that like it's walking. It's the idea that it is this ancient evil spirit that is pretending to be a deer, but it can't get it quite right. So it just looks a little weird. And it sounds a little weird. So yeah, I don't know. It scares me so much. The desert. We talk a lot about the woods on Heart Starts Pounding and a lot about like Appalachia, but the desert is also, there's so many scary stories.
And there's something about the desert, like the vastness and just like how it's like so empty, but yet feels so scary. And like it's pitch black and just like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really scared of the dark. So hearing this property and like how big it is and vast it was and like you had to go unlock the gate to even let the police in, like, and then you hear all these noises and you're so alone. You're so removed from everyone else.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, if anything happens, you don't even want to call the police because you know it's probably going to take them forever to get there. And then you have to go all the way to the gate. If it was someone on the property, if it was really a man, you don't want to have to like run all the way to the gate. You're just by yourself. No, it's horrible.
I'd lose my mind.
Yeah. Me too. Amber, I'm glad you made it to the airport and you're okay.
Yeah, seriously.
Ugh. Do you want to read your next one?
Yeah. Okay, this one. Why I don't go into the woods alone. Hi there, my name is Finn. I'm 20 years old and I love the podcast. Really helps to get through long days. I'm going to get right into it. The story happened when I was 14, growing up in Cork City, Ireland. It was around July 2019, so not very long ago. I lived in a suburban area right by a large forest. With its natural beauty and its historical value, it was deemed a protected area in 2013. I grew up right by it. I spent the majority of my childhood running around with my siblings in its vast wilderness. We'd roast marshmallows, climb trees, play hide and seek, and do all the usual things you'd do as a kid playing in the forest. On the day of this event, I was in the woods alone walking our dog. Her name was Luna, and she wasn't exactly what one would call a big dog, so she was never threatening anyone. All bark, no bite. I've walked my dog through the woods before, but never really alone. I was always with my brother, but today he was away at a friend's house, and I was left to venture into the woods alone. The way the woods were laid out was like this. A long stone path led you down a road that took you to a crossroad that split into 3 individual paths. One was the entrance into the woods. The other 2 were separate paths that went to either the main road or a different neighborhood. As I walked down the road to the entrance, I noticed something very strange. There was a massive lack of people. Normally, this forest is very crowded, as it's a very popular spot for hiking, cycling, walking dogs, etc. But there was absolutely no one here. It wasn't early. It was around 3 p.m., and it was the height of summer. The place should have been crowded, but instead, all I could focus on was the almost disturbing silence of it all. Despite the lack of a usual crowd, I just thought it was a quiet day and kept walking. But then I reached the bottom of the road towards the entrance to the woods, and a man came out from the second path that led to the main road. He was older, at least 60, and was wearing a burgundy sweater and blue jeans, not what you would expect on the trail, and it gave off weird vibes. He was behind me when he came up from his route and stopped as I was about to start mine. He said quite loudly, "Hello." "Hello," I said back to him, because I was always told to say hello to people if they greet you. I turned around to continue my walk when he spoke again in the same, almost demanding tone. "Are you walking your dog?" I said yes, because why would I lie about it? He seemed like a nice guy, right? That thought immediately changed as I heard the next question come out of his mouth. He just stood there for a minute, staring at me. In a quieter, deeper voice, he said, "Are you alone?" I got a really bad feeling in my stomach. I knew I could not let this man know I was a minor alone in the desolate woods. "Oh no," I responded in my best "this is fine" voice. "I'm in a group. There are a couple of us ahead of me and a couple of us behind me." I thought he'd back off once he knew that I was in a group that was at the main exit and at the path deeper in the woods. I was wrong. He stood there for another maybe 10 seconds, staring at me, but it felt like an eternity. I just wanted to get out. Suddenly, in an even quieter, almost flirtatious voice, he said, "Are you lying to me? Other boys like you lied to me before." My heart sank deeper into my chest. What other boys? This guy was definitely a creep, and I needed to get out of this situation now. Instead of answering, I opened my phone and lied, saying I got a text from the group ahead of me asking where I was. "I have to go. My friends need me," I said shakily. The old man just glared at me and then winks and walks away. I foolishly just kept walking. I just wanted to get away, and I saw that he was walking in the opposite direction. I didn't go very far deep. The woods went from a calm walk to a threatening cage that trapped me with a predator. I turned back and walked back to the road once I thought that enough time had passed and the man was gone. I slowly walked back up to the exit of the woods, and I looked up from my path, and what I saw, I don't think I'll ever forget. I saw the same creepy man who talked to me earlier, crouching down, hidden behind a bunch of bushes. And I knew it was him. I recognized the same burgundy sweater. He looked like he was ... waiting for me. Like he knew I'd walk back up the path, and when I did, there would be no one around to stop him from grabbing me. These thoughts were confirmed when I turned to my right and I saw taped onto a gate a note that read, quote, "When I first saw you, I couldn't believe my eyes. You are perfect, innocent, and untouched. You are perfect for me because of your innocence. Only I deserve you, and only I will be with you." This was terrifying. Without hesitation, I grabbed the note and ran out the third path. I ran and I ran as fast as I could, and from the back of the other path where the man was hiding, I heard, "Hey, get back here now." I was fast, luckily, and he was old. I've never ran faster in my entire life, and I finally made it out of there, out of those woods, and away from the man who would have done who knows what to me. Without thinking twice, I reported it to the police, but here's the sad part. They never took it seriously. I don't know if they thought I was joking or if they thought I was being overdramatic, even though I showed them the note. I think they also didn't take it seriously because, unfortunately, men who are victims of these kinds of things sometimes get ignored. Well, actually, almost all victims of these kinds of things get ignored. I unfortunately had to drop the case too, as there was no evidence to prove any of the suspects guilty. But there's something I only realized the other day. The woods were a protected area, meaning there might be CCTV recording everything that happened in the woods. But this pervert was smart, and he stopped me and tried to grab me outside the entrance to the woods, where the cameras weren't. He tried to grab me where the road to the entrance was, not the woods itself. Luckily, I never saw this man again. And I've gone back down to the woods with at least 2 people or more. I'm never going down to the woods by myself again. Stay safe, guys. Really. Finn. Finn. Thank God. Thank God you're okay, Finn.
Thank God Finn's okay, but that guy's still out there.
The little boys before?
Yeah.
No,
other little boys have lied to me.
There's other people out there that have not been so lucky.
That guy's just hiding in those woods. Where did he say it was? In
Cork City, Ireland.
Cork City, Ireland. Wow. Just, if you're in that area, watch out. That is so scary. It's the note too.
The note
leaving
is
the
insane.
Note of someone who is, what did you say in the episode we just recorded? Like, someone who is not participating in reality, which is a very kind way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone who really like has a dark mind and
like looking
scary.
Like I'm pretty sure like Googling what popped up is like the Glen Gariff Woods Nature Reserve. And if you look at pictures, like it is remote. These are thick woods.
Oh, wait, show me.
Like a lot of like really heavy trails. Very, very naturey.
Yeah. And if you're the only one out there, ooh, yeah.
I mean, look at this path. Like there's so...
It's dense.
And if it's a protected place, like how big is it? How many miles? How many acres? Like, would anyone hear you?
Right.
An oddly quiet day. Like, it's so scary.
That is really, really, really scary. And the obviously the heartbreaking part, going to the police and the police thinking you're being dramatic, even though you have this note from this person that you can show and be like, this person was trying to get me. And the cops are just like, well.
And the fact he was like just waiting, like lying in wait, just like crouching in the bushes. No. Yeah, no, he had sinister plans and wow.
Yeah. We do we have a couple of like deep woods episodes, and you just run into people there that you really don't ever want to come into contact with.
No.
Sometimes, yeah.
No, I mean, we had that one story on the episode we did where like someone had been in the woods and like was singing and then like set up like that snare across the trees or something.
Yeah, like they were I think that story was called like he was making human traps. And it seemed like someone was trying to trap people or watch people get decapitated. You know, after we did that story, there were a bunch of people that reached out to me saying that they either knew people who had run into those wires, because they're just wires that run, they're almost invisible.
Yeah.
But they're high enough that if you're on a horse and you hit your head.
Yep.
Yeah, a bunch of people reached out saying like, I know someone who that happened to.
It's
and
insane.
You can become like decapitated from those wires.
Yeah. I mean, I think I talked about it on the episode, but like there's people that get annoyed with snowmobilers going across their properties in the winter.
Yeah.
And so they'll set up those wires.
And they do it intentionally so people will get very hurt.
Sickos. Like I think
Absolute
someone did
sickos.
get decapitated and die. Like it's just
yeah, because you can't see them. You can't see the wires.
put up a fence. Put up a fence. Don't be a psychopath.
Don't be a psychopath.
Put up a fence.
That's just the slogan for the show. Don't be a psychopath.
Don't be a psychopath.
Be normal about this.
Jeez.
Crazy. Okay, I am going to read you another one. So this is a story from a listener named Andy, and it's titled, Noah Always Said This House Was Haunted. To start this story, I want to say that everything you're going to hear is 100% true and accurate to my firsthand account and my friends. To protect their identities, their names have been changed. Back in my high school days, I used to hang out with a group of guys from my agriculture classes pretty much on a daily basis. A lot of the time, we'd end up at my buddy Noah's house, which was tucked back down a dirt road about 20 or 30 minutes outside of town. We'd always find something to do and new places to explore. One day, we were going to cruise down this strip of dirt road close to Noah's house. It was me, Noah, Mason, and AJ in the truck. We passed by an old abandoned house that most of us hadn't noticed before, just right down the road from Noah's. It was tucked back off the road in thick woods, so it was easy to miss. But when you noticed it, you could tell it was clearly abandoned. We all asked Noah about it, and he kind of nonchalantly said, "Oh yeah, that place is haunted." Of course, we were curious about it, so we asked what makes it haunted. And then he told us this story. So Noah used to go on runs in the mornings before school or late evenings and would frequently take a route that passed this house. He said this happened on one of his evening runs a couple years prior. He was on his run and he passed by the house. On the front porch, there was this old lady in a denim dress standing there with a few cats that she was feeding. As he ran by, she waved and smiled at him, and he waved back. When he got home from his run, he thought about that interaction more, and he realized that he hadn't seen anyone living in that house before. So he asked his dad about it and mentioned everything he saw, and he said that his dad's face went pale. His dad said that many years before, there was a very nice old lady who lived in the house, but she passed away in her bedroom. He confirmed that she did have a lot of cats, and Noah's description of how she looked was accurate. Noah since then changed his running route and refused to spend much time anywhere near the place. Well, obviously, we were all intrigued and we wanted to explore the house. Who doesn't love a good ghost story? After a little convincing, Noah gave in to the idea of going to the house, but he warned us that besides his personal encounter, there is something off about that house. He mentioned animals like squirrels and birds seemed to not even go near it. We pulled up to the house and we parked the truck next to an old broken down chicken house in the woods, to the left of it, about 100 yards away. We got out and we started walking towards it. And as we get closer, Noah's warning started to actually make sense. I took note that I didn't hear any birds chirping. I didn't see any animals like you would normally see in the area, and the air seemed still. We got to the house, and for this next part of the story, it's important that you know the layout. So you walk in the front door and you're in the living room. Most of the floor is gone, and it's mainly dirt where the floor once was. Immediately to the left as you walk in is a room that we later determined to be her bedroom. Straight back through the living room is the kitchen with a room on both sides of it. Both of these rooms were hard to tell what they used to be as the roof was starting to cave in on them. In the kitchen, we found old trash and a calendar on the wall that was still dated August of 2001. There were a lot of remnants of someone living there years ago, including an old wood burning stove in the living room. Up until this point, not much had happened besides obviously there not being animals around the house. So we kept exploring, and that's when I entered the bedroom and found a pretty chilling discovery. In the closet in the bedroom were a few dresses still hanging up, and one of them was a denim dress. I showed my friends and made Noah swear up and down that he had never been in there before to know that the old lady actually owned a denim dress like she was wearing when he saw her. We were starting to get a little creeped out after seeing that and decided to just do a little bit more exploring and then leave. A little side note, nothing came from this, but I thought it would be creepy to add in the story that in the closet, there was a big hole that looked like it was cut out of the ceiling and it led up into the attic. After the dress discovery, none of us were brave enough to try to climb up there. We started to wrap things up and Noah walked outside the front door. This next part, I don't even know how to describe what I saw, but I was standing in the living room and I could see into the bedroom. From that angle, I could also see out of the bedroom window and saw what I thought was Noah walk across the window outside. That direction would have been back towards the truck, so I got the other boys and told them Noah was about to leave us. We got out on the front porch, and Noah was sitting there, right on the porch. I said to him, "I thought you were going back to the truck." And he said, "No, I just came out here to wait for y'all." I asked him if he had gone by that window, and he looked at me really confused and said, "No, I just came out here and sat on the porch." My heart dropped. We started to hurry back to the truck. When we got in, I explained to everyone that I saw someone walk across that window outside and I assumed it was Noah. But looking back on it, I know I only saw a black figure move across the window. I'm 100% certain that it was human-shaped. It was not an animal. I also completely believe Noah that he did not walk across that window because after telling everyone that, he was just as freaked out as I was. Still to this day, I'd say that was the scariest encounter I've had. We haven't been back to that house since, and we still get the chills just thinking about it. I know without a doubt what I saw walk across that window was a ghost, but I can't confirm if it was the ghost of the old lady or something more sinister.
Yeah, the latter, however you want to say that.
Yeah. This reminded me of another story I heard of there's like another ghost story I read where this guy was delivering newspapers. He like every single day would deliver newspapers to this neighborhood. And he delivers to this old lady and he has a conversation with the woman that day. He goes up to her door, delivers the paper, she comes out, they have a little conversation. And then he never sees her again after that. And so he asks about her and it turns out she passed away. But when he realizes the date she passed away, it was before his last conversation with her.
Wow.
And I remember a couple other people were like, the same thing happened to me too. Like I remember talking to this person and they had already passed away and oof.
That's so interesting. I definitely think this was like a dark entity that's like putting on the front of this little old lady to try to like lure him in during his run.
Yeah.
Like cause to not really like, you thought it was Noah. So like to me, I'm getting more like masculine energy then. Like I feel like you would have noticed like a little old lady walking by the window again.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, it was just a dark figure.
Yeah. And
It's
you
like-
felt like it was your friend because it was moving like a guy in high school or college.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just like,
And it was outside. It
just
wasn't inside.
exactly. And the fact that there were no birds chirping, nothing.
I know. It's like a shark in the water. It's like completely still everywhere because there's no other wildlife.
Yeah. It's just like that entity, whatever it is just putting out such a negative energy bubble that like nothing wants to come in. And like same with dogs. Like we always talk about dogs can see things.
Yeah.
Like I feel like all animals are kind of more perceptive to energy.
Yes.
Like you hear birds will go quiet. It's like almost it's giving bird box, but like birds are known to like see things.
Oof. Yeah.
So
did I tell you about the scary thing that just happened at the dog park that I bring my dog to?
what? No.
So I bring Fitz to this dog park that's like right next to this motel. And like it's just this plot that they've turned into a dog park. And one of my friends that I always see there was like, all of the dogs go to this one corner and bark. And like, you know, it's not unusual for dogs to bark at nothing, but it's pretty wild how many of these dogs go to this one area that's like in the back and just stare at nothing and bark. So we were talking to the owner of the dog park one day. She was there and she's like, "Oh yeah, someone was murdered there." Turns out
What?
where the dog park is used to be a different hotel or motel that they
Okay.
tore down, and the owners had some sort of war with each other. Specifically over the back alleyway, there was like a dispute over who had rights to the alleyway. And that's where the dogs are always gathered.
Yeah.
And one of them killed the other one like in the alleyway. And then that motel was the one that was torn down and now it's a dog park. But the dogs
They sense it.
sense it and
No,
they
there's
all go
something there.
crazy.
There's something there, 100%. 100%. I also wonder with like the newspaper story, why does it seem ghosts have an easier time presenting themselves to strangers? Like,
Oh,
like I'm always curious about that, where it's like a lot of people are like, I wish I would see my family member that's still hanging out. But like,
yeah.
it's always like these strangers, or like, you know, some of the stories we read, it's like this person working in the funeral home, or,
right.
you know, this person that moves into this house.
Who see the full apparition.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I have a conversation.
Yeah. Or like she like full on waved at him.
Yeah.
Or like the woman talking to the guy just delivering the paper.
Exactly. Like what was their conversation?
It was normal enough, I guess, that he didn't think anything of it.
No.
Ooh, but yeah, I don't know. It's very spooky. I've never seen a full apparition. I'm curious if anyone listening has.
Oh my
'Cause
gosh.
that's like a whole other level of ghostly encounter.
That's a lot of energy.
That is really intense. Maybe it's like you were saying, Morgan. Maybe there's something more sinister in the house.
I know. That's what it's giving.
All right. So the next story we have you brought to me. So this is from one of your listeners.
This is from one of my listeners. So this listener is actually like a paranormal investigator. I absolutely know this listener is real. I have like their first, last name, their email, their picture, and like I actually know where they work. And so they're actually having more experiences now at like the museum they work at, but like have to keep them anonymous.
Whoa.
But
oh my gosh. Okay.
this story, I believe it wholeheartedly, and it has rocked me to the core. I read it for the first time 4 years ago. I got it June 18th, 2021.
Wow.
And so this story has like really stuck with me. So,
okay.
without further ado, to start, I think it is relevant that I provide a little background information. My name is Jake, 28 male, and I've been studying the occult and paranormal for the better of 13 years and almost 10 semi-professionally. I have personally investigated over 150 alleged hauntings and have been a part of 3 teams. I've been able to meet many interesting people doing this. I was even able to meet and have a very personal conversation with Lorraine Warren, the person whose case files the Conjuring movies are based off of. Despite all the recent criticism from the paranormal community, she was a wonderful woman to meet. Why is this important? I don't mean to sound arrogant, it serves a purpose. Most of my research is mundane and boring. Many things that appear to be supernatural can usually be explained away, sometimes complex, however, usually mundane and normal scientific means can explain them. I try to stay skeptical and look for sound reasons in everything, even when there is none. In my 10 plus years of research, I've only had a handful of things ever baffle me, and of those experiences, none of them shook me to my core more than this one. In the summer of 2012, around a family get-together, my uncle had mentioned that he had previously purchased a property that his workers have reported weird happenings. My uncle is a businessman that makes his money by buying foreclosed or derelict commercial properties in and around the Chicagoland area, and essentially flipping them by turning them back into either functional businesses or renovated commercial buildings. As it is common knowledge amongst my family that I am heavily invested in paranormal research, he brought the complaints to me mostly in jest at the time. After some prodding and convincing, I was able to have his ear long enough to have him agree that me and my team would be allowed to set up an investigation. He seemed to think little of the stories that his employees were telling him. I took them differently, as many of them sounded like the employees were genuinely terrified. One of the reasons I became a paranormal researcher was to help debunk fears when someone had nowhere to turn to. My uncle was mostly a shrewd man when it came to money, so I offered my services free of charge in hopes that I may be able to bring some closure or peace to the employees. After a month, my team and I were Chicago-bound with all of our equipment. I had with me my best friend Derek, 21 male at the time, my other friend Eric, 22 male at the time. Between us, we had several cameras, sensors, and various instruments of the trade. When we arrived, it was clear that renovations were in full swing and mostly complete. The building was a large 3-story and housed a hotel with a full restaurant and ballroom. Despite my uncle's wealth, my immediate family was lower middle class, and it was very obvious to all of us in our band tees and rusty Astro van that we were gravely underdressed. We made our way inside to the front desk, weaving in between the hustle and bustle of what was happening around us. We were met by a receptionist, and he asked what we needed and asked if we were lost, obviously alluding to our shabby college appearances. We tried our best, LOL. I explained that our uncle had told us that he was going to allow us to set up for the night and do a lockdown-style investigation. The receptionist seemed confused by this information, stating that he did not doubt that my uncle gave us permission, but that it would be difficult to achieve as they would be having guests there that night, and they had recently opened for business. At this point, I was feeling quite disappointed, and he saw that on my face. He excused himself and stated that he would talk to his manager and, if needed, contact my uncle to sort it out. After a few moments, he comes back. He says that there was a slight misunderstanding with the schedule and says that regardless, we can have a room and stay the night as long as we would like, and that we are free to set up and investigate, as long as it did not interfere with other guests. Another nice-looking man walks up as our talk with the receptionist ends, and he says that he will provide a tour of the place so that we can become acquainted with the layout. He took us through the lobby, into the packed restaurant, and showed us the kitchen that was in a full production of Dinner Fury. After that, he showed us to the ballroom that was empty and closed for further renovation. However, showed us around backstage in case we wished to investigate there. Finally, we were shown around the corridors and rooms. After the tour, we returned to our van to retrieve our equipment. We were overly excited to be staying in such a nice place, and I called my uncle to thank him and explain the schedule mix-up. When I asked him why he had us investigating in the full swing of a business day, he responded with confusion. He asked us to verify the address as we began to unpack our things. He explained that we must be in the wrong place since he had only just begun renovations and the building was supposed to be empty. As he said that, a shiver ran down my spine. My phone then died in my hand, and Derek's and Eric's phones began to rapidly ring before also dying. We all turned around to look back across the street to see a building in ruin. The same building we had just walked through somehow. We checked the chained door and boarded up windows and even tried to retrace our steps on our tour, and parts of the building that we were supposedly just in were even completely missing. At this point, we were beyond scared, but tried to talk through it rationally as we climbed back into our van. We had nothing. We couldn't have all hallucinated the same with the exact same details, even recalling such details among each other down to the color of the napkins the dining people were using. We debated staying, but as we were deciding, we all checked our equipment and all of the batteries, backup batteries, and backup batteries were completely drained. At this point, we were really terrified and just wanted to leave. Luckily, our van started and we pulled away quickly, not once looking back. To this day, this is the only investigation I have ever abandoned and hope that someday I get to return to finish. Since 2012, the building has been restored to its original hotel-restaurant combo. My uncle asked me to be vague about business details as he still owns and operates this property and has let me know that many guests and employees continue to see people walk into dead ends and then vanish and have other ghostly encounters. As stated before, most investigations turn out to be mundane or debunked. Hauntings are never like the movies. But in this circumstance, we were completely floored, and it made me a believer for life. After some background research on the building, it was clear that there was never any tragedy or out-of-ordinary death on the premises. I like to believe that we simply somehow walked into an echo or ripple in time, like a ghost of the atmosphere and happenings, and maybe even a snapshot of some people too. Thank you so much for taking the time to read my story.
Wow, because I was gonna, when you started reading it, I was like, do we think it was a building full of ghosts or a time slip?
This feels like a time slip.
It does feel like a time slip. And one of your other listeners said that they had a time slip too at a building, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whoa. It's very like Shining-esque.
I know. And it's like, what's so interesting too is like they walked in, had this full grand tour, but yet the gate and the doors were locked. Some parts of the building they had just been in were gone.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
it truly did feel like they fell through a portal in time.
They knew the color of the napkins.
The napkins.
The details are so stark.
I mean, and to meet the receptionist and like kind of be met with like a confusion, like he's going to be polite because he's working there, but to be like, are you lost? Like,
Wow.
like you don't look right. You're not fitting in, but yet to then be met with such like, okay, well, yeah, you can investigate as long as you don't disturb any other guests. And it's like, was that a paranormal realm or like what?
So
was that?
Other people had been working on this building and were scared of it.
Mm-hmm.
But did he get any more information on what they had been experiencing?
Didn't clarify.
Okay.
Didn't clarify. Just super freaked out.
So curious what they were seeing also.
I know. I just emailed him last night because I'm like, do you have any other stories for me? Because he said in another email, like, I have another story and I've got pretty convincing video evidence to corroborate it. So I'm getting that. Like he just replied. So I'm like getting that. But I'm going to have to ask him like what the other stories from people were. But I mean, as the hotel guests now are even seeing people walk into dead ends and disappear, other ghostly happenings. So it's clear that the building has some serious energy.
Definitely. I was at the Driscoll in Austin last year, which is like the most haunted hotel in all of Texas.
What's the background there?
It is just a really old, it was opened, I want to say in like the 1880s, 1890s, really old hotel. I don't know specifically the tragedies that have happened there, but just a lot of people have said they've had really strange experiences.
Oh my gosh.
At the Driscoll. And it's still, a lot of it looks like it's original. They've kept a lot of the original architecture. Like the bar, the area you go into now is pretty original to
That's cool.
what it used to look like, which is really cool. But when I was there, just drinking at the bar, there's like a elevator right next to it. And it just opened. There was no one there, but it opened. And I got this calling to like go into it. So I was just sitting there with my drink. I like get up, I go in the elevator. And it like you can't press the buttons because it's a hotel. If you don't have a key, you can't go up to the rooms. So I like press a button. I'm like, oh, it's not working. And as I start going out, the door just closes and it starts going up. And so I'm like, oh, someone must
called
have
it.
Called it. This is going to be so awkward. I'm going to have to be like, can you help me get back down? No, it takes me to a ballroom on the first floor. It takes me up one floor, opens. There's no one there. It's completely empty in this entire ballroom.
Did you get out?
I was able to kind of walk back down and then, I mean, whatever, I shouldn't have been there. But a security guard was like, what are you doing up here? I was like, I don't know. The elevator took me here. He's like, yeah, that happens sometimes. Like, do you think it's a glitch with the elevator? He's like, I don't know. A lot of weird stuff happens here. And then he wouldn't say anything else. But I'm like, what have you seen?
I know. Have you ever like looked into like Driscoll Hotel Ballroom? Like, were there any like anything else?
Not that I could find, but it does feel like the place you would time slip because it feels like there's the portraits on the walls of the people of old Austin politics. And it looks when you're in there like you're in the 1800s.
Wait, I think I've been in this hotel.
Probably. If you
in
went
downtown Austin?
Yeah, if you went to South by or...
I did a live show.
Did you do a live show in the hotel that you don't remember?
I wish. I'm like, wait, because now that you're saying like old portraits, yeah, I've been in this hotel. I had breakfast here.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. But like you do just like, it feels like, especially when you go into some of like the lounges with the art, it feels like you're just in the time.
Yes.
Like there's oil paintings and like there was an oil painting of like the first telephone call in Texas.
Yeah.
And like it gives such old vibes. I'm like, wait a minute. I've been here.
I just looked it up and on Reddit, someone goes, the Driscoll is indeed haunted and something will torment you no matter which room you stay in if you taunt the ghosts there. Me and a friend stayed there a few years back and after a night of drinking, we went ghost hunting on the 5th floor, giggling the entire time, not taking it seriously. Then we had separate experiences. First was hers. Scratching sounds woke her up one night and she thought I was just making them. But when she looked over at my bed, I was completely still. I wasn't moving. It scared her and it took her a while to get back to sleep. And then a few days later, I was taking a nap alone in the room and I woke up hearing sheets of paper falling over and over. Totally freaked me out. So yeah, don't taunt the ghosts there. They will taunt you back. Ooh, so I feel like and that's maybe karma, like if I stay there now because I was kind of messing around with the elevator.
I would want to get back in it though. I would want to the problem with a time slip that would scare me is if you slip through time and can't get back. Because if you would have gone in that elevator and then you go up to the ballroom and it opens and there's people dancing, like how do you get back? Like, does it just fade? Is there not enough energy to maintain it?
I wonder if there's people. Well, I guess we maybe would have heard if there were people that have time slipped and got stuck and were in the wrong era. There's kind of stories like that. But I don't know. I guess these people just, like in your story, they turn a corner and all of a sudden they're back.
They're back.
In reality.
Wow.
Very spooky. I love a scary hotel though. Scary, old hotel.
I know. There's one here in California, what is it, the Riverside Inn or the Mission Inn in Riverside?
Oh, okay.
It's here in California. And we recorded one of our paranormal episodes there one year and I couldn't stay. I had something the next day. I had an early 9 a.m. meeting. I was like, I can't stay. The drive will be too bad. But my friend Lauren actually stayed the night in the hotel.
Oh, wow.
Most timid thing too. I'm still shocked she did it.
Yeah.
And she was awoken in the middle of the night by the most insane crashing sound above her.
Oh my gosh.
Except this room didn't have another room above it. It was the top floor.
Of course.
And it was just the most insane clanking. And she's like, I've never heard something so loud and violent. And she just couldn't sleep the rest of the night.
That's really scary. I mean, my listeners know that I did a episode with 2 Girls, 1 Ghost in Salem and we were doing a little bit of a ghost hunt in a haunted Airbnb. And then those 2 girls,
the board.
That's when we found the Ouija board. We were led to a Ouija board. I think it was a ghost that wanted its business finished because it wanted us to throw out the Ouija board that was in the house. Actually, really interesting episode. It was very interesting doing that ghost hunt. But after we did the ghost hunt, both of the girls were like, okay, bye, we're going back home. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to stay here.
You slept there?
Yeah, so I slept there.
By yourself?
My mom stayed. Oh. And she asked us to because we did the ghost hunt. She's like, did you hear it? Did you see anything? Did you talk to anything? And we're like, no, we didn't see anything. We're fine. We're going to stay here. Don't worry about it, Mom.
What did it feel like? Because a lot of people when they're talking about boards or feeling things, it's you kind of could feel another person moving it when you play with a board.
It was that. It was kind of upsetting a little bit. Just how the whole time we were there, you could feel something was there, especially because there was a 3rd story, lots of cold spots. Right when I first got to the house, I opened the door. It's just this dark stairwell that leads straight up. I'm like, okay, whatever. I go up there. I do a little hey, I'm Kaelyn. I'm going to be staying here just in case. Come back down, close the door. And then Sabrina and Corinne from 2 Girls, 1 Ghost show up. And I'm like, oh, let me show you the really scary part of the house, the 3rd floor. We get there, the door's open again, back up to the attic. And I'm like, I don't want to freak you guys out, but I definitely closed it. I latched it so that it wouldn't just blow open.
Yeah.
And it was open.
I wonder why they didn't want to stay there with you.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that was smart, but. All right. I have one more story for you, Morgan.
Okay.
This is from a listener named Cheyenne, and it's called My Nana's House is Haunted. Hi, my name is Cheyenne, and this is the story of my Nana's haunted house. I'm a new listener, and your podcast is my favorite. I thought you would find my experience with the paranormal interesting. To start from the beginning, my grandparents, aunt, parents, and myself all moved into a 2-story house in 4 Oaks, North Carolina to take care of my great-grandma who had dementia back in 2013. When we moved in, it was amazing, and we were all together, and it was plenty of space for us and our horses. However, it did not take long at all to start noticing something was off. The house was not an old house. We were only the 2nd family to live in it, and the old owners only moved out because it was under foreclosure. So we moved in and we got to work on the flower beds around the house right away. And that's when we noticed the first weird thing. We kept finding rocks with names on them buried in the ground. So the top story of the house was an afterthought when they were building it. It was added on so that it had access panels throughout the top floor that led to the roof underneath. Me, being nosy, one day I crawled in there and I didn't think I would find anything, but there were these jars with what looked like herbs inside and also paper with stuff written on it. And the jars were sealed with wax. At the time, I didn't have a clue what it could be, so I just crawled back out thinking I didn't really find anything interesting. But before I left, I opened one of those drawers, and I regret it every day. Fast forward a few months, I'm the only one who notices that weird stuff has been happening around the house. Think cold spots, hair standing up for no reason, feeling like I was being watched. Everything escalated from here, but not all of it was constant, and some of it was daily though. Things like when you were in the bathroom upstairs with the door shut, you could hear the floor creaking right outside the door, and sometimes you could even hear a single heavy breath. It was so prominent, I went to my mom about it, thinking that it was someone peeking through the door, never having it register that maybe this wasn't human. Because mind you, my family is all Jehovah's Witness, and I was also raised Jehovah's Witness, so we don't believe in ghosts. And as a result, I also don't know anything about ghosts. And so of course, my mom thought I was insane. But fast forward, again, almost nightly, when I would lay in bed in the early hours of the morning, I would wake up to the sound of plywood rattling against other wood. Then, finally one night, I saw it. The plywood that closed up the access panel to the attic in my room was lifted out of the hole about 2 to 3 inches, and then it dropped, like something had pulled it up from inside the attic. It scared me so bad I couldn't even scream. There was always such a strong feeling of a presence in that room. I hated sleeping in there. One night, I remember laying in my bed scrolling on my phone, and I felt pressure at the foot of my bed. At the same time, my dog started growling like I had never heard before, and I felt the pressure start to move up the bed like it was crawling on top of me. I could even feel the shifting weight. I screamed and I felt it lift. Again, nobody in the house believed me. Whatever it was seemed to knock it off for a few years after this, and it just went back to the cold spots I would sometimes feel and sometimes feeling a presence in the house. But eventually I moved out when I was 18 years old. But several years later, in my 20s, my life kind of goes sideways and I end up living back at home. I moved back in and boom, immediately, before I was even fully moved back in, it started back even stronger. Sounds upstairs, pressure on my bed, the feeling of constantly being watched. I tried everything to make it stop, like sleeping with all the lights on, calling out God's name loudly. Nothing worked. I decided I was gonna paint the walls to try to brighten things upstairs. One day, I was painting the wall in the far left hallway that led to the upstairs living room, and I felt something grab my hair and pull. It yanked my head back hard, and after that, I felt like someone was standing over me. By this time, I knew that there must be something upstairs, so I said out loud, "Hey, I'm sorry I'm back. I'm sorry if me redecorating upsets you, but I'm just trying to make it nice." And then everything went quiet, and I was able to finish painting. Some time passed, and it was the same old stuff. Nothing new, although this time I was living in the master bedroom upstairs at the opposite end of the hall to the room with the attic, and it was much calmer in that room. I still kept my door closed, or I stayed downstairs as much as I could. And around this time, my Nana started asking me almost every morning if I was rearranging furniture upstairs the night before because her room was directly below mine. She said it sounded like I was up all night rearranging my room. I told her no, and I also reminded her that the whole upstairs is carpeted, so it didn't really make sense the amount of dragging that she said she heard. She made it sound like she was hearing big pieces of furniture be dragged across the hardwood floors, but that just wasn't possible. Fast forward again, my then boyfriend and now husband started staying with me upstairs from time to time, and at that point things kicked into overdrive. We started seeing full-body apparitions in the hallway at night periodically. I remember one night he woke up out of nowhere and let out a scream so strange, like it took every bit of his strength and courage to make that sound. And it woke me up, and I asked him what was wrong, and he said it was right there watching us. Apparently there was an apparition standing over us on his side of the bed. He said it was tall, skinny, jet black, and it vanished just after he opened his eyes and screamed. The next morning, we both had unexplainable, deep, dark bruises. I also had the same experience of seeing it standing over us, but at the foot of the bed. However, I couldn't scream. I was paralyzed and I opened my mouth, but no sound would come out. This all came accompanied with random whispering that I couldn't understand, waking up with red marks, scratches, and bruises regularly. It wasn't long after this that I finally moved out. I do, however, still visit my Nana, but I don't dare go upstairs. She still says that she hears the moving furniture upstairs at night. My grandparents and my aunt still live there to this day, but they haven't experienced anything but the sound of moving furniture. I guess the lesson here is that if you ever find a jar with a wax seal around it, leave it be. Don't open it. Thanks for listening to my biggest life lesson.
Oh my God, I've full-blown chills.
So one thing I looked up afterwards after reading this story was
the jars. What could have been in there?
The jars and the rocks in the garden.
Yeah.
And so what people were saying is that sometimes they'll do that for protection. They'll leave rocks with their names on it in the garden for protection. And so I wondered if the jars upstairs were also for protection, like the people who lived in the house before had been experiencing something.
And then she broke it.
And maybe left some protection spells. And then this girl then Cheyenne opened the jar, broke it, whatever, and then just kind of allowed something in.
I mean, it's almost like making like a salt circle or like whatever people do. Like they put salt across their doorways to block spirits from coming in. And it's almost like if the jars were creating some sort of like seal. Yeah. And then you opened it and like broke the seal. I mean, it makes sense. The rocks is really interesting.
Yeah, the rocks. I mean, I did see a post that someone made where they had found rocks with like runes drawn on them. They were like, what could this possibly be? And that's when people were like, oh, sometimes people do rocks for protection.
Yeah.
So not first names, but more like runes. But even still, like that could have been what they were doing in the garden.
I know. One thing I've been really curious about is like paganism and like getting more into that and just being like, well, I'm just curious what it is. Not that I necessarily want to practice, but like just all the folklore behind it, because like there's so much that descends from that.
Yeah. There's a lot of branches of it too.
There is.
There's a lot of different types, and you can go. I have a friend who goes on Etsy and orders spells.
Oh my god!
From like Etsy witches.
What? Okay, the Etsy witches have been like on one lately.
I know. I keep seeing them in the news.
I saw a girl who got married and she's like, it was supposed to rain on my wedding day and it was raining all morning, so I got on Etsy and I got 2 witches and then it stopped.
Listen,
Becca Bloom, she's like,
oh, it was Becca Bloom.
Becca Bloom.
Had Etsy witches prevent the rain at her wedding.
Yeah.
Because I did see when I was reading about the wedding, people were like, and the sky opened up for Becca Bloom on her wedding.
Etsy witches.
I didn't realize it was Etsy witches.
Too.
No, my friend does protection spells and money spells and job hunt spells.
Does it work? She having any luck?
Yeah, she had I want to say she had someone cast like a moving spell because she's trying to move out of her situation. And her dad's best friend was like, oh, I'm leaving the country. I'm going to keep my apartment in LA if you want to just live there rent free for a little while. And I'm like, maybe I got to get on Etsy and see what some of these witches are up
I'm like,
to.
I'm trying to get good weather on my wedding day. Like,
oh yeah.
September.
You need to look into Becca, whoever she hired on Etsy.
Send her a message.
Some of them are like $8 too. It's like not that expensive to get a good spell.
Oh my gosh. If anyone has a preferred Etsy witch,
or if anyone has, reached out to an Etsy witch and gotten a spell cast, I'm so curious by this as well.
Wow.
I haven't messed with it because I don't want to like accidentally tip the balance of something in my life.
That's my fear.
Like, oh, you get this great blessing, but
it comes with a price.
Yeah, you have to sacrifice. All your hair is going to fall out or something. I don't know.
I know. The more simpler one for good weather on your wedding day is burying a hot dog the night before. Or a wiener. Have you seen that one going around?
No.
Yeah, apparently if you bury a sausage, I don't know if it has to be a hot dog or a sausage or what, but if you bury it the night before, apparently it works.
I'm going to ask my husband if he did that because on our wedding, it was really gross. We got married December 16th in Texas. So not snowing, but like kind of gross, rainy, cold weather. It was 65 degrees and sunny on our wedding day.
He definitely buried.
It was the only day
buried a sausage
in like 2 weeks. So I wonder if he buried a sausage and didn't tell me.
Matt, did you happen to put a hot dog in the ground?
Did you learn a spell from an Etsy witch and do it?
Can you imagine? I could see him like just wanting to give you a good day.
Etsy witch guy on the planet.
I don't know. He could surprise you.
He would do that for me.
Exactly.
Yeah. If he,
I could see it. For you, I could see it.
Do you think Justin would do that for you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just try anything to.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He's definitely an acts of service guy. So he'd for sure get on Etsy and find some witches.
Yeah. I'm so curious if anyone listening has reached out to those Etsy witches.
I swear, I'm like,
the
we've already
deal
been
is.
looking at the forecast because it'll give us that far out now.
Yeah.
And we've been looking, and right now it's like 65 and sunny. So I'm just
Okay.
like, come on, keep it going.
Yeah, pull through.
I want 75 and sunny, but beggars can't be choosers.
In Minnesota in September.
Hey,
late
last
September.
year it was 85 and sunny.
I mean, it's only getting hotter, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, climate change.
It's crazy.
But these were terrifying.
Yeah, woof.
I'm definitely not going to be able to sleep, especially with this last one. Like the pressure on the bed, and like Justin having had something similar in our house with like something yanking him down by his legs.
And also saw something. And
Yeah, he saw like a dark like figure. He said it was like demonic looking. He can't really describe it. And he's never had a sleep paralysis thing. And he remembers like sitting up and seeing it.
Yeah,
So-
you're not, if you remember moving, it wasn't sleep paralysis.
I know. Because sleep paralysis, you're like locked in.
You're locked in.
And with
Locked and
this
loaded.
one-
When I wake up and I hear Walter, my sleep paralysis demon, come in the room, I'm not moving.
What does he look like?
He's like one of those things I can't see because I can't move, but I can feel his kind of like ancient eternal energy enter the room. And usually he'll crawl into bed with me.
Are we
I won't
sure
be able
that's
to
not the monkey?
No, this was before I got Gordy. This has been
Okay.
happening since college is when I had my first sleep paralysis episode. But yeah, I'll feel the comforter kind of move, like someone's getting into bed with me, but I can't turn and I can't see him. And he'll either like breathe in my face or like wrap his arms around me and squeeze until all the air is out of my lungs.
And then do you get out of it?
And then, so now what I do is I'm really good at
so bad.
counting, because I had heard that sleep paralysis episodes only last 4 seconds, which is absolutely false because I can count in my mind. And I know I've gotten to at least 20 before, but I just start counting and breathing. And I know that the more I try to relax, the less intense it gets. And then I can kind of get out of it. But
That doesn't sound like sleep paralysis. It sounds like you got some guy with you.
I know, especially because like other people, a lot of people experience the same thing with sleep paralysis. So I'm like, who's visiting all of us?
Have you ever had like your energy read? Like I have a friend who is working with like a medium because she felt like she had like another like entity with her. And like from the time she was
Ooh.
little, like her cousin was babysitting her and like went to check on her in the room and saw like a figure hovering above her. And so she always has felt like she'd had like this dark male entity like attached to her.
Wow. Did you get her energy read?
She
And find
has, and she
something
was
out?
like, she was working with this medium or psychic to like be able to put more of a block between her and this energy. And I feel like she's definitely good now. And
Ooh,
I haven't heard anything about it since.
that's interesting. I wonder if it's like blissful ignorance versus if I knew something was there, if I would be freaked out.
Yeah.
I got one of those aura photos done though, where like the photos I can read your aura, and the energy was pretty good. So
Okay.
there wasn't like I
You're
didn't
safe.
take the photo and see like the hat man behind me. So I think
Walter's
I'm
just
okay.
coming and going.
Yeah, Walter. Yeah, he wasn't there in the photo. So I
Keeping
think
things
I'm okay.
interesting for you.
Thank you so much for joining me on this one.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited for us to both go to our respective homes and have to decompress with some sort of show or something to
I know.
kind of like not freak us out so much so we can sleep tonight.
I know,
But
seriously.
especially-
I gotta go watch like a Care Bears or something.
I know,
something just
something-
like
we got
happy.
more K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm going to go rewatch that when I get
That
home.
one.
To
Mhm.
help me calm down.
Exactly.
All right, that's all I have for this episode of Heart Starts Pounding. Thank you so much for joining me. This is really kind of the conclusion of our spooky season programming. Join us next week where we're going to be diving into a very scary urban legend in New York and the true story behind it, because it's a lot worse than the urban legend says it was.
What?
All right, we're getting into Cropsy. So we will see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Heart Starts Pounding is written and produced by me, Kaelyn Moore. Heart Starts Pounding is also produced by Matt Brown. Our associate producer is Juno Hobbs. Sound design and mix by Peachtree Sound. Special thanks to Travis Dunlap, Grayson Jernigan, the team at WME, and Ben Jaffe. Have a heart-pounding story or a case request? Check out heartstartspounding.com.